I didn't expect anything different. You all shouldn't have expected anything different either. Because when you have an administration full of clowns, we all should expect a circus. Yes, I'm talking about the congressional hearing that took place on yesterday with the so-called United States Attorney General, Pam Bondi. Like one of the congresswomen said who was questioning her, yeah, I couldn't tell. Yeah, she tried to correct, Pam Bondi tried to correct the congresswoman and wanted her to be addressed, wanted herself to be addressed as United States Attorney General. And the congresswoman said she couldn't tell. She does not act like the United States Attorney General. She acts as the personal lawyer to Donald Trump by way of the United States, using the resources of the United States. Before I get any deeper into it, I want to give a shout out to the folks over at Conrad's Apparel. They sent me this hoodie. This hoodie is thick, it's soft, it feels good on the body, it's warm, but I'm no stranger to Conrad's Apparel. They also sent me this mug some time ago. They sent me this mug, but this mug goes in concert with one of my favorite hoodies that I purchased from Conrad's Apparel, and it matches that mug. Do y'all know about Conrad's Apparel? I've had this hoodie for 2 years now, and look, it hasn't faded. It's soft, it's thick, it's good on the body, baby. And this one is just the same. Yes, I consider myself to be a leader out here in these streets, trying to lead my people into the voting booth, educated on all that is going on politically. Shout out to Conrad's Apparel. Thanks again. I'll put the link to Conrad's Apparel somewhere so you guys can get to it. Back to Pam Bondi. None of y'all should have been shocked by her performance on yesterday. She performed as she was expected to perform by Donald Trump, his administration, and the billionaires that she is protecting. I didn't expect Pam Bondi to seriously answer any questions coming from Congress regarding the Jeffrey Epstein files. And if y'all did, I'm sorry that you were disappointed. Now, Jamie Raskin did try to set a tone of professionalism from the very beginning, but you're not dealing with professional people. Here's part of Jamie Raskin's opening statement.
Now, as ranking member, I asked the chairman to add a few extra rounds of questions today because we each have 5 hours of questions, not 5 minutes, but we're stuck with 5 minutes. That's clearly insufficient to give voice to America's victims and survivors and to demand answers about all the corruption and cover-ups that we see at DOJ right now. We've got just one round, so we ask you politely but firmly, Madam Attorney General, please do not waste 1 second of our precious time by evading questions, by changing the subject, or engaging in personal attacks against members of Congress. We saw your performance in the Senate, and we're not going to accept that. This isn't a game. In the Senate, you brought something with you called a burn book, a binder of smears to attack members personally for doing the people's work of oversight. Please set the burn book aside and answer our questions. And when you hear us reclaim our time, that means it's time for you to stop speaking. We only have 5 minutes, so when we reclaim our time, that means you stop. And if you don't, we will ask the chair to stop the clock and let you go on his time. The quality of justice in America depends on the character of our government. Please do your job and bring the Department of Justice back from the brink. The survivors seated behind you and the American people watching everywhere deserve a Department of Justice.
And although Jamie Raskin attempted to set the ground rules of professionalism, she went on to do exactly what he asked her not to do. personal attacks, changing the subject, evading questions. She was belligerent and combative. She was aggressive. She was distracting, and she was participating in obstruction. And she was caught in a lie by Congressman Ted Lieu. Pam Bondi had social media on fire yesterday. And I was just shocked by all of the comments of people saying that she's incompetent, people who were saying lock her up, people who were just shocked at her behavior. Pam Bondi was chosen to be the Attorney General because of her ability to protect Donald Trump and the billionaires and millionaires who are a part of Epstein's circle. Pam Bondi has been protecting them since she was the Attorney General for the state of Florida. So yeah, you shouldn't have expected anything different. Why would you expect her to go into this hearing to be open and honest, which would in fact incriminate her boss and the millionaires and billionaires that she has been put in charge to protect? She's not put in charge to protect the American people. She was put in that position to do exactly what it is that she is doing. To protect, what are they calling it? The Epstein class, the Epstein social circle. I didn't expect anything different, and neither did Jasmine Crockett. Jasmine, when it came to Jasmine Crockett's turn, she was like, I don't expect this witness to answer any questions, therefore I'm going to make a statement.
The gentlelady from Texas is recognized.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. And to be clear, I'm not going to ask any questions of this witness because this witness has revealed that she has no intentions of answering questions. But instead, I'm going to ask some very basic questions really quickly of my colleague, Becca Ballant, if she will answer right or wrong, raping children.
Wrong.
Right or wrong, killing random citizens.
Definitely wrong.
Right or wrong, enriching yourself as the sitting president of the United States.
Definitely wrong.
Okay, thank you, because I probably never would have got that with our witness. Our witness who somehow is a lawyer but does not understand how it works with witnesses. I'm not really sure what law school she went to and what all kind of cases she tried, but typically when you come into a space and somebody's a witness, then they sit there and they answer questions instead of asking questions. And then we also have this objection that we use as lawyers called non-responsive when a witness fails to actually answer the question. But nevertheless, let me address the survivors because that's exactly who they are. They are not victims, they are survivors. Let me say thank you for having more courage and moral clarity in your pinky fingers than the entire Department of Justice. We are currently the laughing stock of the world, partially because of the failed leadership within the DOJ as we see kings and queens falling everywhere around the world. But we don't know the basics of right and wrong in this country because it's not about partisanship. And that's why I applaud Thomas Massie, because he's the only person on the Republican side that has a backbone and knows how to stand up to corruption. But nevertheless, let me keep going. My Democratic colleagues have been attacked this entire committee hearing. They have been lied on. And frankly, the American people weren't looking for that. They were looking for answers about the corruption that they see coming from this administration. In the written testimony of this witness, of this particular witness, she stated that when she took office, she had two main goals. The first was to end the weaponization of justice, and second, to return the department to its core mission. Not only have you lied about both, you've intentionally done the exact opposite. You're spending more taxpayer resources arresting journalists than you are prosecuting pedophiles and creeps. In fact, your boss, the President of the United States, stated that this administration, quote, took the freedom of speech away. And at your direction, DOJ has arrested Don Lemon and Georgia Fort. And I might add that y'all actually had a judge that rejected y'all for trying to arrest Don Lemon before, just like the grand jury rejected y'all as it relates to Senator Kelly, just like a grand jury rejected y'all as it relates to Senator Raskin, just like the case against Tish James was dismissed and the case against Mr. Comey was dismissed. I completely don't get how it is that you're sitting at the top of DOJ because you don't seem to be good at your job. You're spending more taxpayer resources arresting these journalists. In fact, we know after Georgia Fort and Don Lemon were arrested, we know that there were homes of journalists that were raided. We know that threatened prosecution against students protesting your actions and forced tech companies to remove apps used to track ISIS activities. But let's circle back to you protecting pedophiles and creeps, because I want to talk about the president and his possible involvement with Jeffrey Epstein. Now, I don't know what the president might have done with Jeffrey Epstein, but unlike this administration, I believe that facts matter. So let's talk about the facts. Fact number one, Donald Trump is one of the most named people in the Epstein files. At least 5,000 files contains more than 38,000 references to Trump, his wife, or Mar-a-Lago. Fact number two, Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell made young girls available to Trump on multiple occasions. For example, according to this file, Ghislaine Maxwell presented a young girl to President Trump who spent more than 20 minutes apparently flirting with her. Here's another example. This shows notes from FBI investigators that describe Jeffrey Epstein transporting a victim to Mar-a-Lago to meet with President Trump, where he bragged to Trump that, quote, "This is a good one." Now, I'm not saying that the president is a pedophile, but there is a lot of evidence in these files that suggests that he's very close friends with a lot of men who are pedophiles. What's crazy about all of this is just that this is a big cover-up. And this administration is engaged in it. In fact, this administration is complicit. But there are numerous others, like how the DOJ is attempting to obstruct justice in the investigation of the rogue agents who have murdered American citizens, or how the DOJ seized voter data from Fulton County in an attempt to steal the 2026 midterm elections, or how federal agents have Tom Homan on tape accepting a bribe and your agency killed the investigation, or how your agency is ready to give the president a $230 million payday, which is unconstitutional. The Constitution is clear. The president shall not receive any payment except his salary while in office. The fact of the matter is that you will be remembered as one of the worst attorney generals in history. An attorney general who has prioritized obstruction over justice, corruption over the law, fealty to the president over loyalty to the Constitution. And Mr. Chairman, I will yield.
Gentlelady yields. Gentleman from Missouri is recognized. Gentleman from Kansas, the attorney.
I loved it. I love the fact that Jasmine Crockett took up the whole 5 minutes, which didn't allow for Pam Bondi to have anything to say directly to Jasmine Crockett, because after Jasmine Crockett yielded back, she grabbed her stuff and she walked out. But Pam Bondi did have something that she wanted to say. Jasmine Crockett just wasn't there to listen to the shit. Now, a lot of people are talking about how Pam Bondi is going to jail. I say hopefully. A lot of people are talking about how incompetent she is. Pam Bondi is not incompetent. She's a little slow, but she's not incompetent. She's doing exactly what it is that she was put in that position to do. And if she ends up in jail, Pam Bondi knows that that is a possibility because of what it is that she is doing. Pam Bondi, I believe, if she goes to jail, she will come out on the other side. If it's not a lifetime sentence, she will come out richer on the other side. She doesn't give a shit about Epstein's survivors. She doesn't give a shit about Americans in an uproar. To me, the people in this administration, they feed off of our anger. They feed off all of the emotions that they inflict or incite within us. They feed off of that shit. Yeah, none of us should have been surprised by the chaos that Pam Bondi brought to that hearing on yesterday. It should have been expected. But for all of you who are now wide awake as to what Pam Bondi's role is and what it is that she's doing for Donald Trump and the Epstein class, hopefully come 2026, you will vote accordingly. That's all I got. I'll see y'all later.